If you are tuning in, and I guess I'm only mentioning this because I was live earlier, and in my life it feels like a continuation, but it might not be for you. Whichever case, thank you for tuning in. How is everything? I hope you can sit with yourself and answer that sincerely and take stock of everything that has happened, especially over the last 2 weeks, more particularly over the last 7 days. These are things that I'm pulling out of my butt. So if you don't resonate with it, then you don't. Then this is not for you. But if you do, has it not been crazy? This whole year, really, in retrospect, has been absolutely insane. And I get the sense that a lot of us are collectively taking stock on what has happened so far, looking at how much we have made of the year. It's interesting because you would think that all of the reflections that are hovering above us collectively would have happened around the halfway mark of this year. But it feels like a lot of us, most of us, were way too busy processing shit, being sad about shit, crying, isolating, withdrawing, being winded, being overwhelmed, being confused, being a little bit lost. And it feels like now we are sitting with like I said, what the halfway mark of the year would have brought. Reflections on what we've made of the year so far, how everything has been, what we can do to make the most of what's left. I believe that what any individual can do to make the most of what's left is to make sure, take stock, look at everything that has happened in your life this year. Consider the way that you approached everything that happened and ask yourself in each of the major pinnacle moments, because it feels like there's been a few moments that you can recall that maybe made you feel, that brought really big feelings, even if the situation itself wasn't big that you were processing, or you didn't go through any big situation, but you were feeling big inside regardless. You're feeling big emotions. What we can all do to make sure that we are taking proper stock, mind you, this is according to what I think, okay? So you might not agree on this, but I'm trying to generalize for what I feel is the larger collective's spiritual goal. It feels like we're all living a really spiritual life, possibly more spiritual than we are used to. Maybe a lot of people collectively have picked up religions, switched religions, dropped some, you know what I mean? So anyway, what we can do to properly take stock is to look at everything, get in the greater picture of everything that has happened, and ask ourselves with each situation, with each big feeling and each wave of emotion, how true we were to our sense of self, to what it is that we were feeling at the time. Was there something that happened or something that you did or went through where you responded and behaved in a specific way that you thought maybe may have suited the situation, or in a way that you thought was the best solution or the best answer or the best response? Again, this is the operative word, because this is where we are starting, where we are trying to move away from. We're still doing the transition, the very painful, very overwhelming, very confusing, very what this year has been, transition of moving from the head to the heart and staying here in the heart and making this the main, the motherboard of the computer of the way that you live. Everything must be coming from here, from your breath, from the way that you feel. Something that I've been seeing repetitively as like common advice on social media is the assumption that you are most ahead if you can like stick to the plan and not to how you feel. And I've disagreed with this every time I've seen it, and I've seen it every time I've seen it, and I've seen it for months at a time. Like no 2 months would go by without me seeing someone say that that is the best course of action. I completely disagree with that. I understand the mature, I understand the maturity in it and the wisdom in doing that, sticking to the plan and not how you feel. But I do think that that line and that suggestion invalidates the way that you feel in an alarming way. Alarming because I really believe there has been no more of an important time in history to focus, to at least pay attention to how you feel. I've said this repetitively for readings and readings. I don't remember when last I've said this, but it is a form of communication. Your emotions and the way you feel, there are forms of communication. And for those of us who have lived a life where we have been often overwhelmed by how we feel, so much so that we feel we can't make decisions, people who are undergoing processes where they are on medication for managing the way that they feel, people in that category, this statement and addressing it and validating the fact that living from your heart is very, very important, is most important for that demographic, because we've been working with our feelings long before this world firstly understood via the scientific masculine investigation type ways of understanding. We are making way into building a reality where we understand how important feelings are. This whole spiritual trend, all of it, it's coming online very slowly, gently, but also very dangerously. So I'm reminding you to please use discernment when you seek people to give you answers, seeking sangomas, healers, all of that. Please use your discernment. Going off on a lot of tangents here. There's a lot to say, and the energy is very, it's very big. There's very big energy in the air right now, especially post 8/8. And I didn't want to veer too far off. Now I've just remembered that I had a specific energy that I wanted to address. So yes, focusing on emotions, giving way to how you feel, and making that very important, making that the central source from which you make decisions. Not to say that you should abandon this way of living altogether, but this needs to be the center. Whereas up until now, we've used this as the center and used this to kind of guide us through, so to speak. We need to use this as the center and then use this as, I guess, the informational processing. Use this as the thing that generates the main light, process it through here, but just the process, right? And then actioning out our intentions, the things we want of our lives. A pattern that I mentioned in the tarot that I did earlier today and that I've tweeted about, that I've seen as something that came with this 8/8 portal commonly, and not just the 8/8 portal, but like I said, these past 2 weeks and past few months, and more or less the theme of this whole year is a theme of empowerment and feeling like a victim, and knowing the difference between essentially the serenity prayer, knowing the difference between what it is that you can control and what it is that no matter what, you will not be able to control. It feels like specifically what came in with this 8/8 portal are actually, as an extension of what I've opened this live with, is a control of feelings. And I think that it also happened with this Mercury retrograde, where there have been big feelings about situations that many individuals thought wouldn't be as big. It's like we're feeling hugely about something that when you look at it, shouldn't be that, it shouldn't generate such a huge feeling. So it's like, why am I feeling so big? Or something huge is happening in front of us, but we are calm, super chill, very grounded. And it's like, how come I'm not feeling more overwhelmed by this, right? And then with me, in my personal life, I've had a dancing between those things where I'm looking at something big, feeling big things, looking at something small, feeling big things, looking at something big, feeling small things, looking at something small, feeling small things. You know what I mean? I've been dancing between all of those, levels. And that in itself has made me feel very unstable. And it has shifted me so much from one point of center to the other. It shifted me so drastically that it has forced me to surrender, because the changes are just too big. The spikes are too big. The spikes in cortisol and all of these emotions, it's just too much. And like I said, like I tried to imply, I'm one of those people who has been functioning from the place of feeling, and I've been trying to manage my big feelings without any medication, via natural herbs and tinctures. I've mentioned my journey enough times. And I feel as though this period of time, this season that we are transitioning out of, this winter season, this whole year, has been doing this so intensely to my energy body that I've snapped. So in what may sound like a bad way, in maybe to a certain extent could be a bad way. I don't know, we'll have to see. But in right now feels like a really good way, because like I've said, I've been backed up into an intense corner of complete surrender. I'm finally able to be at a point of peaceful acceptance of what my life is, what may come of it, and of what I can and can't control, And hopefully that is what has met you. Hopefully that frequency is what has met you through everything. Please understand, if it hasn't, and you're in a moment of this, and everything feels really, really chaotic, and you're breaking down often, and you're often feeling confused, lost, all of the things that I mentioned earlier, then please know that you're being guided to this point in a way that your body and your sense of self can understand. You'll eventually feel this bliss out. You will feel it. Your emotional body will eventually bliss out, even if it is that your external situations are so chaotic, so nonsensical. People are acting unreasonably around you. You're getting into really unnecessary conflict with people. If that's happening, again, just as I mentioned as well, the best way to handle anything right now is to just make sure that you are being true to yourself. Please make sure you're being true to yourself. And if you don't know where your sense of self is, find anything that makes you feel good. Find a sense of self that makes you feel good, and then run with it. And then allow that narrative to sit in your body, sit in your heart, play the narrative out, see how it feels, have fun bending your reality in that way, because it really does show you, once you start to play with your identity, you'll really begin to understand how bendable your reality is according to how you perceive it. Have fun with that. And then, allow that to guide you to where it is that you feel most true to yourself. That's very important. Being true to yourself is the most important currency right now. I saw somebody actually tweet about how she feels authenticity starved because of the performativeness of social media, and how everyone's setting everything up now, and everybody's doing things for the views and the clicks and the likes and whatever, for that quick dopamine hit. Excuse my sniffing. Yeah. Because of that, she typed a thread that I unfortunately didn't engage fully on. I just saw the first tweet that spoke about how she's feeling like she needs more authenticity. She needs to see more people expressing themselves honestly. And the lack thereof is taking away a lot of the fun of social media. And I've actually been seeing a lot of people talk about this, how social media is just not as fun as it used to be. And if you want it to be fun, you have to work to find and stick to locate that niche. There's a specific niche of people. And I'm sure everybody who tunes into my work is part of that niche of people who are just fucking true to themselves, not interested in the likes or the views or engagement. They're just doing their thing because they like doing it. That's it. If you're someone who is on that frequency, then please trust and believe that your time will come to be in the spotlight. It obviously may not be at the extent of how spotlights have looked before, right? And thank God for that, because you don't want that kind of like fame. It's not that glamorous. You want what is coming for a lot of us, which is a very niche audience, a very engaging audience base. I was going to say fan base, but that's not, fan culture's dead. You're going to attract a very niche and sincere audience, which again, yes, is what you want, because that's sincere, right? That's true. Nobody's going to be connecting with you on the basis of, well, they're going to be a few, likely. People who are connecting with you on the basis of trying to leech energy from you. But those are easy to deal with. Just trust in the fact that you're protected. And it's really just an act of like keeping up with your ritual, spiritual hygiene, making sure you stay prayed up. Very important, especially for these times when it feels like there is, I don't know how else to describe this, so I'm going to use this and just walk with me. There is a beast of a spiritual entity that is like hovering above the collective. And I think this is why the energy feels so big right now. There's like this entity whose main objective is fear, that is camped on the whole collective, just searching for people to take, for people to reverse people in doubt, to keep people stuck in a stagnancy of nothing is going to come for me. My dreams will not come true. Always be aware of the worst case scenario just in case something bad happens. Poo-poo thoughts. If you're still operating on the just in case something bad happens, figure it out, babe. Figure it out. Because that frequency, the just in case, the what if something awful happens, that I have to get ready for something bad so I don't have to blah, 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 blah. That generates the victimhood frequency that we have to let go of now. We have to let go of it. You cannot still be under the impression that you are a victim of anything, ever. I spoke about this on Twitter as well, as an example and an extension of what I'm talking about. You cannot be calling yourself broke. You cannot be calling yourself poor. You cannot be attaching words to yourself that you do not want to identify with. Do not ever call yourself ugly. Do not ever perceive yourself as less than someone else or below, or even if somebody tries to attach that word to you, do not ever take it personally. Do not ever take insults personally now. We are way past the point of understanding that when someone tries to attach some lower frequency word, vibe, or energy at you, it's a reflection of them. It is personal to them. It has nothing to do with you. You need to stay up in whatever possible way. It does not matter what you are going through. We're all going through something. And it sucks to go through shit. And I'm sorry if you are. But none of the feelings of shame and victimhood that any shitty situation could happen around you, none of those situations are a reflection of who you actually are. They are just modes of communication that your life is using to speak to you. You have to get it into your head now. We have to remember this consistently. We cannot be caught beneath the devil's feet anymore. Time is up. It's been up, and it's becoming upper and upper. Like it is becoming so dire. Largely because, and I've been saying this really, and I think the whole of existence has been building up to this moment of how quickly we're able to manifest things. Sorry about the signal. We're building up to lightning fast manifestation, lightning fast unions of divine partnerships and of people with their dreams coming true. It's no longer going to take as long as it has for people's dreams to come true, for people to come into the amount of money that they want, for people to come into the love that they want and the sense of self that they seek. All of the delays that we've been facing up till now, they haven't just been illusions. I wanted to say that they've been illusions, but they're not just that. It's more a show of, it's more been a show of how far we have stood from our divinity. We are getting closer and closer and closer. And at this point, we may as well be it. We may as well genuinely be gods on earth for real. And it is very backwards, lower level thinking to believe that you aren't at this point. And the other problem, and I guess this is only a problem for me because I really value attractiveness. I value being hot. And I don't know if I've ever said this on my YouTube, but I have tweeted about it. I don't think that being hot takes what we've been fed via social media and whatever. It's not just about the slimness or the perfect skin or the makeup or the baddie vibes, whatever. It's about how true a person is, how true they are to themselves, and how connected they are to their truth, to their inner light, whatever that may be for you. This is why, and thank God we've arrived to this time in history where all of these social norms, they don't matter anymore. Nobody cares about what your teeth looks like, what your body looks like, what your skin looks like. Yeah. What matters most is how true you are to yourself. Someone who is absolutely true to themselves, listens to their inner calling, does what the fuck they feel when the fuck they feel like, that is a hot person. Everybody has the potential to be hot. Everyone. And we should all be tapped into that right now. And to mention why I said this at all is because someone who isn't true to themselves, someone who's lying to themselves or who's trying to push a narrative because of fear, something that's fear-based, you can see it, you'll feel it, you'll even smell it, it's just going to be like, ugh, being around this person or hearing their voice or even like looking at them is just going to feel like, ooh, that's not it, it's the same feeling you get, the same feeling I get when I look at AI accounts, when I look at images of AI, especially AIs that try to portray like a human vibe, I get this very like, ooh, feeling. That is exactly an extension of what happens when you are not true to yourself. And nobody needs that. Nobody needs that in their lives, ever. Never, ever again, because it's not hard to be truthful. It's not hard to be honest. It is. I get it, especially because we've been living in this illusion and this lie, for millennia. So obviously it's going to be hard because we're trying to peel away from something that's been a norm for so long. But once you do it, once you're in it and you keep it as a running train in your life, it's like a drug. It's the best thing ever. Honestly, it's part of why I've been enjoying my sobriety so much, because because being sober is the closest, it's the closest to how I feel to my truth. Uninhibited, just completely my frequency. It feels so good. And then feeling fearless about being in it, doing what you want, when you want, just because you feel like it. And it makes you happy and it fills you up with the sense of fulfillment and joy in the moment, you know? There's nothing like it, and I wish it upon everyone, and I really do think that it should be easy for all of us to do, because that is actually what the point of being alive is. That is the purpose of life. Truth, right? We all have a specific frequency of truth within us that's busting at the seams right now. That's also the part of the reason of this chaos. Our truths generate a very special, extremely high vibrational frequency of love. And again, it's part of this beast that's hovering above the collective that loves to take that light, swallow it up, and make itself bigger. I'm sure we can follow this narrative via the shows that we watch. Like all the shows we watch about monsters that suck souls. And I'm thinking of one that will suck a soul and then keep it in its keep it in a storage compartment in its body, and it will get bigger and bigger. That kind of thing is what's happening right now. And that's what happens when we give our attention to things that we don't actually mean to give our attention to, or we give our attention to, for example, celebrities for the sake of, wow, they're so perfect and I'm not. That kind of stuff must not be happening anymore. We have to gain full, better, balanced control over our awareness, over our intentions, what we want from our lives, what we want from ourselves, what we want from the universe and the gods that we connect to and pray to. And by the way, that's very important as well. I, at this point, no, I don't read for atheists. However, if that is where you stand right now, DM me. Let me know how you're doing, because I'm actually genuinely curious and I don't want to sway anyone out of their beliefs. It's a very personal journey, but I can't imagine what you're doing right now if you don't believe in a higher power, or you don't believe in benevolence, hope, something out of your control that cares for you, loves you, miracles, shit like that, you know? Yeah, I don't think I have anything else left to share about that frequency. I just, again, have to reiterate over and over, I can only hope that you're being true to yourself right now. It is very, very important. And if you're not being true to yourself, then pay attention. Or, whatever you're doing, regardless of what you're doing, pay attention. Your life will signal to you whether or not you're being true to yourself, or you're lying and you're choosing things from a place that doesn't need to be true. You no longer need to make decisions out of fear, genuinely. You don't need to worry, genuinely. And if you still don't believe me, then I don't know. I don't know. The universe has been trying. Our gods have been trying. Our angels, our ancestors, whoever you pray to, they've been trying, and they won't stop. They won't stop trying to tell you how blessed you are, how lucky you are. And as far as you believe it, take it to the top, considering how lucky, blessed you are, how deserving you are of miracles. I use deserving very lightly, but you know what I mean. How much you can get exactly what the fuck it is that you want. To the T. To the T. Really, really, really. Even radical things that you think like, things that you think are impossible. Just test it out. See how God can make the impossible possible for you. And even if it's not fully possible, it'll come close where you'll know that you were heard. God heard you. You'll see it. You'll get it for sure. And God is so sweet, a really sweet, like super, super kind, malevolent, humorous energy that just really is so, I tweeted about this. God is so desperate to serve us all and give us exactly what it is that we want. But if we don't want anything, or if we want things half because we're scared the whole thing won't happen, or if we think we should be wanting this thing because that's what the rest of society believes is good to want, then God is just going to be like, okay, well, you sure about that? And you're going to keep getting these, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Really? Do you mean that? Are you sure? Really? Really, really? You get those questions all the time. Because also, no one knows you better than this benevolent energy that wants to grant your every wish. Open up to that. I'm going to pull cards now and see what there has to be said. I think I've said everything. And I also mentioned this on the Tarot and Chill earlier that oh yes, and I actually wanted to touch on this really quickly. I don't know if, this is not fully obvious, but I just want to point out the fact that I'm no longer labeling these readings as collective weeklies because I haven't been consistent weekly. So these are now labeled just general collective spreads. And like I said, touched on this in the Tarot and Chill, where I said I've been iffy about showing up with these readings because of how big the energy is right now and what the consistent encouragement is that I've been sensing is that we need to practice how to get the sense of what our intuitions are saying. We need to. We have to. And this is also why I go out of my way to tell you to stop watching my videos if it is that I don't resonate. If there's anything that I say that just doesn't, that feels like, and makes you feel like skew, stop watching my stuff. Stop watching, tune into someone who resonates with you, or preferably, honestly, stop watching at all. Because I believe that if it is that you're tuning into a work, a vibe, a person, anything that gets you skew, it's not so much that this person doesn't resonate with you as much as it is that there's some inner truth that's bigger than what you're watching or taking in that does resonate. And what you need to do most desperately, most of all, more than anything, which again is why, I've mentioned why I'm iffy about doing these things. You need to sit with your own truth, figure out what your own sense of truth sounds like. Very, very important for these times that we're in. There's nothing more important than that, honestly. Get rid of the noise. Anything that's standing in the way of you being able to listen to your true self, get rid of it as soon as possible. Don't worry about the consequences. Yeah, and I mean that. Take a risk big enough. Show your intuition. Show God, show your higher self, show your soul how serious you are about it. Show your life how serious you are about your life. Demonstrate it, as long as you are rooted in understanding why you're taking that risk, to listen to your intuition, listen to yourself, and get a clearer sense of what it is that your truth has to say. This is very interesting. I received these cards earlier today when I was doing a reading. And the Queen of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which again is referencing what I was speaking about. The Queen of Cups and the Page of Swords. Sorry, I'm running too far ahead. Let's tell the story. So we have the Chariot and the Nine of Rods in reverse. Earlier I received it like this, and I received it for someone who was going through what felt to me like a very removed sense of self, where everything she was asking was about someone else, or about how someone else would feel, what someone else was doing. And it felt like she was seeking these answers to then make a decision for herself, instead of sitting with herself, deciding first and foremost what it is that she wants, and then moving from that place. You know what I mean? I'm going to tap into the Nine of Rods in reverse. I get the sense that part of the reason why I'm feeling this way, because it feels like it doesn't feel too, I'm feeling sick, but not sicky sick. It feels more like my body is processing something energetic, which I think would make sense because the Schumann resonance has been reading insanely this past week. Every day we were blasted with it, you know? It was crazy. This says inability to compromise, immaturity, and a tendency to see everything in black and white when the ability to see gray is necessary. Inability to shift position, defensiveness. With these two cards falling out together, I'm getting the sense of I tweeted about this as well earlier today. The idea of how when you want something, it's like you have something that you want. And okay, right, I'm getting the frequency. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Something that you want is waiting for you. Oh, and I also tweeted about this. I said big things are happening, big things are coming, and they're just waiting for you to accept that they're there for you to happen. There are big things that are going to happen either way, and they're going to shove you right the fuck out of your own way so that they can happen. When you want, it feels like you want something, and your human mind is trying to make sense of how this thing you want will come. So you're trying, you have a thing, and and because you are so desperate for it, because you want it so badly, sorry, desperate is a bit of a desperate word. There's something that you want, and you want it very, very badly, which is fair. But it seems like you want it so badly that you're trying to build the ladder towards it. And in doing so, in building that ladder, you are blocking how quickly it can come in for you. You are blocking it coming in for you altogether because you insist on it happening in a very specific way. And the universe is looking at you trying to say, dude, I've got your back. This thing is going to happen. You asked for it. It's coming. Can you just let me do it? Can you give me room? You know, it's like you're trying to micromanage the universe. And you're trying to have complete reign, complete control over how this thing comes in. You want it specifically in the way you want it. You want it to happen in a specific time. You want this union to happen with this very specific person because this specific person has the characteristics that are closest to what you want. But they still don't have the thing that you want. They still don't have the whole thing of what you want. Do you actually believe that the things you want are going to come? Do you actually believe that your dreams are going to come true? Because it doesn't fucking seem like you do. It doesn't seem at all like you do. All of this whole energy deals with the home frequency and the frequency of tapping into your true light, which, as I pull more cards, has to do with this, the Four of Rods. This sense of knowing and of this sense of home knowing, of understanding that, yes, you will always get what you want. You have very balanced control over your universe. You know, God is a friend. Your life is a friend to you. And you can trust the feeling of what you want to come in so that what it looks like doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, but it feels like right now it matters so much that it's stopping what you want from coming in because you want it to look a very specific way. And it's like, you don't even know how tomorrow is going to turn out. Why are you so insistent on your dream happening in this specific way, in this specific time, with this specific person, with this specific job, and this amount of money? You're overwhelming yourself. You're overwhelming yourself. You're at risk of causing a lot of emotional problems because of how badly you want to be in control all the motherfucking time. Can you chill? Can you relax? These two cards falling out together speak of that integration bit I was talking about, where the heart space needs to be focused and prioritized, and the mind space needs to be used as the processing machine. So lots of these two working together in order to let this be a true thing, a real thing, in order for you to lead your chariot in a true way, a way that is true to yourself, and not in a way that's stubborn in a way that misses the grays between the black and white, that misses the rainbow, because we're not just dealing with these three tones. We're dealing with a whole rainbow of a spectrum of existence. And it seems like you forgot that. And that is where all the tightness comes from. It feels like life may be feeling extremely tight for you right now, and it really doesn't have to be. Try to cry things out. Cry as much as you can. I think you'll find a lot of relief in having a random cry, even if it's about nothing. Sometimes I can feel that I need to have a cry, but I won't know about what. I'll just start going in about really sad stuff in my life, things that really make me emotional. And then I'll have a good big fat sob, and then I'll feel great after. Or watch a sad movie. Make yourself feel something, because it feels as well with this card, like this constriction that you're feeling, this insistence on things going a very specific way in your life. It's stopping a flow that's necessary. Like maybe you're a little bit numbed out. I'm also getting this random sense of the possibility that maybe I'm getting the sense of somebody who has achieved so much, and they seem to be numb to it. Like, you've achieved a lot this year. It's actually been really great. But when you tap into your heart space, it doesn't feel as though you've achieved your dreams. Or your dreams are here. You're facing them. You're facing everything you want, which is kind of what I'm feeling, where I'm facing something that that has been circling my mind for literally 10 years now. It's been circling my mind. It's sitting in front of me. I'm seeing it. It's right here. I can touch it, full access. But there's still something in me that just feels like out of body, disassociated almost. Very like, I didn't expect to feel this way. Am I suppressing something? Is there something I'm not? Is there something that I'm missing? You know? It's confusing me a little. But anyway, some kind of emotional expression would be good. Even if it's just to myself, even if it's just to yourself, a good cry. With this card, I'm also getting the suggestion of journaling, writing, or just writing something down, writing a stream of thought down, and then reading it over so that you can understand where you're at. You can understand what's going on within you, because it feels like with this card, the reason this is happening, this defensiveness and sense of immaturity, the reason it's happening is because there's something about yourself that you're not getting, or something about your life and your intentions that doesn't align with a truth that you seek for your future, or a truth that you set out for yourself recently that you're not following through on. Which again has to do more likely than not with the fact that you don't really believe that your dreams are going to come true. You don't really believe that you can get anything you want. You don't believe that you're lucky. You don't believe that you're blessed. You don't believe that you're protected. And I mean, it doesn't make them untrue. Just because you don't believe that good things are coming to you doesn't mean that they won't come. What's yours is still yours. Your blessings are still yours. You're still protected. You're still lucky. You're still loved. It's just you're getting in your own way by insisting on believing that you're not. And there's nothing that can be done about that. Again, it's just your life waiting for you to come around. Your life waiting for you to stop being in your own way, From the beneath the deck, again, we have from the Four of Rods, we have the Knight of Swords, and then we have the Ten of Cups, which again, I think references this frequency of how something is coming or something is happening in your life right now. Very close or happening right now. And you're not into it. You don't get it. You're not believing in it. You don't believe it's real. You're not trusting of it, or you're hiding. You're still bracing yourself for whatever shadow. And you see, so we have the Three of Discs, and then we have the Nine of Swords. You still think you're here. And then we have the Six of Discs, and then we have the Three of Swords and the Four of Discs. Like, I'm not going to shuffle anymore. And yeah, I'm not going to pull any more cards. I'm just going to leave leave this reading, even for my own self, with the reminder that you are so blessed. And it doesn't make sense that you don't think that you are. At this point, this far in the game, with this much work that you've done, with how much work you've done, how much energetic intention, spiritual, all of this and don'ts that you've put in to your journey, you still don't believe that you're like one of the luckiest people alive? Really? You still don't believe in God? You still don't believe that your dreams are going to come true? You still don't believe in your personal power of manifestation and bringing forth miracles? Like, are we still doing this? Yeah, there's nothing more, really. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing more to do. There's only so much that can happen if you still don't believe. If you still don't believe, if you still don't know, you know what I mean? If you don't embody your truth by now, if you don't embody your truth, then you cannot blame anyone but your own lack of embodiment. In which case, yeah, your universe, your God, all the good things and your blessings, they're really just waiting for you to walk like you know you're blessed. That's really all this is. At this point, you are. At this point, your dreams, they're happening. They may as well be right there in your lap. Everything is waiting for you. So when you're ready, congratulations. And enjoy your future. And well done for making your dreams come true. Because all you had to do was believe that they would happen. I'm done. I'm leaving it at that. There's nothing else to say. Like I said, it's an embodiment thing. And also, giving respect to divine time. There's no rush to this. Like I said, what's yours is yours. If this doesn't resonate as yet, trust that it will very soon. Trust that this year is going to end on a very different note than how it's felt so far. And start really feeling excited, please, so that exciting things can actually happen. Because they are dying too. Your life is everything's waiting to be exciting. Just please let it happen. Please let it happen. And thank you for tuning in. And like I mentioned before, I'm sorry, not very consistent, and I can't promise consistency from here on out because the energy is huge. I'm going through and processing my own shit. So all I can really say and promise is I'll see you next time. And your dreams are definitely coming true. Okay?